shifting relationships. Tonight on Our News.
A local pastor is condemning extramarital affairs following a University of the Bahamas report that shows sweethearting is on the rise. I'm Delvado Emmanuel. Stay tuned to Our News for the full story.
And political fallout. Controversy in the Mount Moriah race as an arrest in Florida puts the spotlight on one candidate and former cabinet minister as election season heats up. Also, time for talk is over.
I'm Jasmine Brown, and coming up tonight on Our News, workers at the DICT unit protest again outside the office of the Prime Minister over outstanding issues. That's coming up.
Then in Our News at 7:30, fishing industry leaders push back after a dramatic viral video.
Tonight in Our News, we hear from a fisherman's perspective what it's like to encounter poachers at sea. Stay tuned for more details.
Our News live at 7 starts right now. Welcome to Our News live at 7. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Candino Knowles. A recent University of the Bahamas study sparking debate after examining sweethearting or extramarital relationships in the Bahamas. The findings now drawing reaction from the church, with a local Pentecostal bishop calling the results alarming and a sign of shifting social values. Delvado Emmanuel gets us started tonight.
I was just shocked. I know that sweethearting was happening for a long time, you hear it, but now for it to be actually put into a study and that you can actually read and quantify and document it, it is very alarming. Our society has drifted tremendously from our forefathers' foundation.
A local pastor is weighing in on a recent University of the Bahamas study examining the reality of sweethearting, extramarital relationships in the country, and what may be driving them. The research found that 54% of married women described a sweetheart as sexually superior, compared with 39.5% of married men. The findings are now drawing reaction from the church. Bishop Anthony Farrington, Archdeacon of the Pentecostal Assemblies of the World, says what once was whispered about is now being normalized, something he strongly condemns.
Each one of us, or most of us, may say that we may know someone who is partaking in this type of activity. It is wrong. I condemn it as a religious leader. I believe in the institution of family. A family is with one husband and one wife with their children. So when you step outside of that religious boundary, then you're stepping outside of the laws of God.
The religious leaders warns that broken homes can have wider social consequences.
I'm very alarmed that some people are supporting it, some people are magnifying it, but it is wrong because not only is that husband or wife being impacted, but also the children. And it's not right for the children to be disadvantaged.
Now, with these alarming trends, Bishop Farrington is urging couples to address problems early within the marriage or seek help before the relationship breaks down.
Just love on each other. I know that there is always issues. No marriage is perfect. No family is perfect. But we have to have a concerted effort to say that we're going to make our marriage work. And I know that there are always signs. And a lot of times, husband and wives, they ignore the signs. And I want to encourage them to, where you think that there is a sign, have that conversation.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Delvado Emmanuel.
All right, thanks for that, Delvado. An Abaco man accused of recording himself performing a sex act on a minor has been granted bail. Murphytown resident Jeremiah Dean faced charges of unlawful sexual intercourse and production of child pornography when he appeared before Magistrate Abigail Farrington. The charges stem from an incident that prosecutors say allegedly took place on the island on January 8th. The 19-year-old's bail was set at $9,000 and is forbidden. He's forbidden from having contact with his alleged victim. His trial set for May 5th. And a would-be armed robber, now a patient at Rand Memorial Hospital after a failed attempt to hold up an armored truck in Grand Bahama last night.
On arrival at the scene,
police say the suspect is in stable condition after being shot by the security officer attached to the armored truck. The ordeal unfolded just after 10:30 Monday at a bank on East Mall Drive in Freeport. According to investigators, the security officer said a lone gunman with dreadlocks had stolen deposit bags and fled north along Mall Drive. The officer said his colleague, who was armed with a company-issued firearm, ran after the suspect. Officer in charge of the Criminal Investigation Department, Superintendent Nicholas Johnson, who you saw on the screen just a moment ago, he picks up the details from here.
On arrival at the scene, he received information that a male was shot as a result of this incident. He was later rendered medical attention and taken to the hospital. At this time, his condition is unknown. We are in the early stage of the investigation. We conducted inquiries into this matter. The suspect in this matter is said to be a male in his early 50s.
And the suspect was found with the stolen cash and was also carrying an imitation gun. At the scene, Superintendent Johnson denying robberies are up on the island, but he did share this advice for business owners who regularly deal with cash transactions.
No, we are investigating an additional armed robbery. We have a suspect who's in custody who's assisting the police with that matter. We're not concerned about any armed robbery trend at this time, but whenever we have these matters, we take them serious and we quickly jump on them to bring them to conclusion. Always use the armored service if possible and be cognizant of your surroundings and be careful to don't make late deposits at the banks without a proper security.
2 men and a woman are in custody tonight following the seizure of a large sum of cash in a joint operation Monday. Officers from Drug Enforcement Unit, Financial Crimes Investigation Branch, and the K9 Unit conducted a stop and search on a blue Dodge Ram in the 5th Avenue area just after 3:30 p.m. During the search, officers found $47,418 in cash concealed in what they say were several areas of the truck. The 2 men, ages 42 and 40, were arrested and cautioned on suspicion of money laundering and possession of the proceeds of crime. Following the find, officers say they then executed a search warrant at the suspect's home where a 39-year-old Haitian woman was found. She was unable to provide documentation confirming her legal status and was taken into custody. All right, the time for talk is over. For fed-up Department of Information and Communications technology workers, they protested outside the office of the Prime Minister this morning along with the leader of Bahamas Public Services Union. The BPSU chief telling reporters that a missed meeting with the Prime Minister and what he terms failed talks with 2 other cabinet ministers have 80 DICT staffers at the breaking point. Our Jasmine Brown tells us in this report it's not the first time they've taken action outside OPM.
Those DICT workers were out here at the office of the Prime Minister for the 2nd time this month, where they're continuing to voice their concerns over outstanding issues.
They want the promotions and the money, and they want it now.
This was the scene that greeted members of the Davis-led cabinet arriving at the office of the Prime Minister this morning, where nearly a dozen workers from the Department of Information and Communications Technology gathered with placards speaking to their plight. They even caught the attention of former trade unionist and former public service minister in the last PLP administration, Shane Gibson, who was leaving the office of the Prime Minister. The issues are the same outlined at a February 4th protest at this very same location. They're demanding long-awaited promotions, reclassification, and regularization, saying years of delays have left frontline ICT workers overlooked and undervalued. Taru Bannister is one of several workers awaiting reclassification after nearly 27 years on the job.
One of the biggest issues is the lack of communication.
And it's a lack of communication that prompted another protest. According to the Bahamas Public Services Union President Kimsley Ferguson, Ferguson claims they've exhausted all talks and have now taken their plight to the Prime Minister. Ferguson says after several attempts to contact the PM, he finally got a call from Davis. A meeting was scheduled for this week, now only to find out the PM is out of the country.
I want to assume that the Prime Minister wasn't aware of what his schedule would have been like. I can make an excuse for him this morning. But however, if that was indeed the case, then someone should have reached out to us.
Our News reached out to the Office of the Prime Minister for a response to Ferguson's claims. They confirmed the Prime Minister is currently out of town attending the 50th regular meeting of the CARICOM heads of government that's being held in St. Kitts and Nevis. Meantime, Ferguson says DICT workers won't be silenced.
You know, we're exhausting diplomacy. We're making certain that if action is taken, we would have exhausted every other avenue before we took any action that's going to impact the Bahamian public. And we want to appeal to them. We don't want them to be of the view that they're victims, but the victims here are the people standing behind me this morning.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
All right, thanks so much for that, Jasmine. Now, we did reach out to Public Service Minister Pia Glover Roll, who told our News that the DICT falls under the remit of the Minister of Economic Affairs, Michael Halkitis. We reached out to him, but got no response up to airtime. And as you heard there from our Jasmine Brown, Prime Minister Philip Davis traveling to St. Kitts today for the 50th regular meeting of CARICOM heads of government in St. Kitts and Nevis. The meeting comes amid a growing humanitarian crisis in Cuba, which is placing the region in a tug-of-war with the United States. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio scheduled to meet with Caribbean leaders this week, reaffirming America's commitment to enhance stability and prosperity with the Caribbean community. But at the same time, the U.S. is still hammering down on Cuba, blocking oil shipments and worsening an already severe energy shortage. President Donald Trump urging Cuba to strike a deal while warning other countries to stay out of it, threatening tariffs. Mexico, which supplied Cuba with oil in December, has since cut ties, fearing the possible retaliation from the U.S. Here at home, Chairperson of the Bahamas National Reparations Committee, Dr. Nyambi Hall Campbell-Dean, calling for an end to the decades-old blockade and for the region, and by extension the Bahamas, to stand in solidarity.
When we look at times of struggle in the Bahamas, like Hurricane Dorian, for example, they have sent their medical staff, their medical professionals to help us in our time of need. And even before that, just in helping to build our public healthcare system, they have sent their nurses, they have sent their educators to help build our education system.
And the Reparations Committee Chair says it's important for us to stand with those who stood with us, recognizing the Bahamian government's previous stance against the embargo as high up as the United Nations. She's calling on Bahamians to take a stance, but also to speak up.
The government has a role, but I think that the people have a role as well. So I think that if the people raise their voices and say, no, we think that this is wrong and we want something to be done about it, then that will place more emphasis not only on our government, but governments throughout the region.
And as the general election season intensifies, the Free National Movement's candidate for Mount Moriah, Marvin Dames, responding to questions surrounding the recent arrest of a U.S.-based individual with whom he previously had a business association. In a statement, Dames confirms that a man he and his wife entered into a business arrangement with in 2024 was arrested in Florida on allegations related to drug offenses. However, Dames says he has no involvement in nor prior knowledge of the matter and emphasizes that the allegations do not involve him or his family. The former National Security Minister and retired police officer says he will not speculate on an ongoing investigation, adding that he is prepared to fully cooperate with any lawful inquiry by authorities in the Bahamas or the United States. And our TV viewers set to experience a brand new TV offering starting tonight as we roll out a new addition to our current affairs lineup right in time for the general election season. The Candidate Catalog, hosted by our News anchor Megan Shepard, empowers voters as the hiring managers, giving you what you need to make the most informed decisions at the polls. Now, each episode features a one-on-one conversation with the men and women asking for your vote. The focus, a clear, straightforward conversation that helps you understand who they are what they stand for, and how they plan to serve. The show will air weekly at 8 p.m. starting tonight across the RTV network. All right, we've got much more to get to tonight, but for now, it's time for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson, he is standing by in the Weather Center, and Greg, all I see is 60s, 58, 61, 63, 63, 64, 66.
That's for the cold weather lovers, so get outside.
Hence I called all the numbers.
Yeah. We saw some warmer temperatures down in the southeast Bahamas, but yeah, we're in the 60s, and we can continue in those 60s tonight as temperatures remain on the chilly side. 64 degrees outside our studios, clear skies, the winds out of the north at 9 miles per hour, feels like temperature on the outside feels like 59. The winds are falling off, so temperatures will continue to drop. As you were saying, Kendino, 58 in Freeport, Grand Bahama, 61 in Marsh Harbor, Abaco, that's current temperatures, 63 in Alistown, Bimini, as well as in Great Harbor Key and in Nichols, San Andros. Here in the capital, 64, Governors Harbor, 66 there, Central Bahama, 66 in South Andros, Kemps Bay, 65s, Artistown, Cat Island, Coburn Townsend, Salvador, we pick up 68 in Black Point, Exuma, and in Deadman's Key. Georgetown, Exuma, 67, and in Port Nelson, 69, Duncantown, Ragged Island. Some 68s popping up, Colonel Hill, Cricket Island, Abrahams Bay, 66 in Delectable Bay, 70 in Matthew Towney, Nagana, good neighbors of the southeast, Tricks and Kings Islands. You have a temperature right now of 73. Satellite radar composite. Frontal boundary pushed well to the south. It's actually across Hispaniola as we speak, but there's some cloudiness associated with the front still affecting portions of the southeast Bahamas. Most of the precipitation associated with the frontal boundary still are staying well to the south of us, but a high pressure system continues to build across us. We still have that north to northwesterly wind flow that's bringing in some very cool temperatures. We will continue that trend tonight through tomorrow. We expect temperatures to dip into the 50s and 60s, but we do expect a warm up by tomorrow into the rest of the weekend, and we're looking for some almost summer-like temperatures by Saturday. That's your first look at weather. Stick with us. We'll take a look at your extended forecast when we come back.
Coming up in sports, well, we knew it was going to be history for somebody at the Hugh Campbell final. The finale lived up to the hype, and just like that, it's all over.
Yeah, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
Meet the voices who want your vote. Coming to the RTV lineup, Candidates Catalog, a show that throws political heavyweights and newcomers into headline-grabbing challenges. Join Megan Shepard as she dissects candidates' promises, pasts, and personas. Candidates Catalog, where strategy collides with conscience. Only on RTV.
What's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the R News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
For more than a century, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has been the face of law and order. Established in 1840 with only 16 men, it's become one of the largest law enforcement agencies in the country, employing hundreds of police officers. They've not only fought crime, but also built safer communities. And this March, in honor of Police Month, join me, Jasmine Brown, every week as we introduce you to the brave men and women who risk their lives every day to keep us safe.
It only takes a second for things to go wrong. Are you prepared? Don't become a statistic. Follow these simple rules. Leave early, obey road signs.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by Tantier Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. Let's do show. We got pretty much everything we wanted out of this. Blue blood programs, two of the most decorated coaches in the country, everyone chasing history, a great story, and on the broadcast, Amo even had the 90s video game graphic heading in and out of the break. Hugh Campbell was amazing this year. One of those amazing storylines, grief turned into greatness Monday night at the Kendall Isaacs Gym when Mario Roll delivered one of the most emotional and dominant performances in recent Hugh Campbell history. Just days after losing his father, the C.I. Gibson Rattlers star forward stepped onto the floor and played the game of his life. 24 points and 18 rebounds to lead his team to a 75-53 win over the St. George's Jaguars as the school claimed the 2026 Hugh Campbell title. Do you have a countdown yet to the World Indoor Champs? You probably should. It's kind of important. The athletes do. It's about a month away and it's time to get going. And they are. World record holder Devin Charlton clocked a world-leading 7.77 seconds to win the 60-meter hurdles at the Orlin Copernicus Cup in Poland. Meanwhile, Antonique Strawn finished third in the 60 in Jamaica at the S.W. Isaac Henry Invitational in 7.39 seconds. Always a special moment when Bahamian hoopers face off on the big stage. This one was the highest level of college hoops. We head to the American Athletic Conference for this one. Roma Dean's Tulsa Golden Hurricanes defeated Brent Moss and the UTSA Roadrunners 174 and set a record number of threes to do it. Dean didn't have any, but he scored 11 points and grabbed 6 rebounds, while Moss had 8 points, 3 assists, and a pair of threes. That'll do it for our sports. Stay tuned to our news at 7:30 for details on these stories and more.
When our news comes back from the break, we turn our spotlight to stories making headlines across the world as tourist hubs shut down, flights disrupted, and fears of more violence in western Mexico. Plus, after 3 years of invasion, Ukrainians pause to honor the dead as the war with Russia grinds on. And as nuclear talks stall, U.S. military forces are building up near Iran, with warnings of really bad things from President Donald Trump. The story when our news returns.
For more than a century, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has been the face of law and order. Established in 1840 with only 16 men, it's become one of the largest law enforcement agencies in the country, employing hundreds of police officers. They've not only fought crime, but also built safer communities. And this March, in honor of Police Month, join me, Jasmine Brown, every week as we introduce you to the brave men and women who risk their lives every day to keep us safe.
It only takes a second for things to go wrong. Are you prepared? Don't become a statistic. Follow these simple rules. Leave early, obey road signs, wear seatbelts, invest in hands-free devices, and don't drink and drive. I'm Inspector Gerard Cum of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, reminding you that road safety is no accident.
It's more than a podcast. It's a movement. This is Breaking the Silence with Junior Clovis, where conversations we avoid finally have a place to breathe. Every story, every struggle, every breakthrough is brought to light, unfiltered and unspoken until now. Join us this Sunday at 2 p.m. as we confront the topics that matter, share real experiences, and change the conversation around mental health together. Watch, listen, break the silence.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having Business in a Box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer service that we pride ourselves on.
Every week, one show drives the network.
This is our news. Welcome back. We turn our attention now to stories making headlines across the world. Panic in western Mexico after coordinated cartel attacks following the killing of a major drug boss. Authorities say at least 2,000 soldiers have been deployed across Jalisco state after the Jalisco New Generation cartel torched vehicles and sparked gunfire near cities and tourist hubs, including Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara. Travelers describe people hiding inside airport terminals as flights were delayed or suspended. Some airlines say service is gradually resuming. The violence erupted after a government raid killed a cartel leader, Nemesio Osuguera, known as El Mencho. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum calling the operation one of her most aggressive moves yet against organized crime.
We own a timeshare here in Puerto Vallarta, well, in Mexico, and this is our favorite one to come to. We booked it long ago, and we figured the Mexican government is very motivated to take care of the tourist industry, so I don't feel very worried. I think we'll be fine.
We were hungry yesterday. We had no food yesterday. Nothing. Nothing was open. It was a terrifying day yesterday. My daughter saw the cartel light a car on fire right in front of us. There was fire all around us. It was terrifying.
Kyiv, Ukraine marked another year of Russia's full-scale invasion Tuesday as residents stood in silence while soldiers lowered military flags across the capital. Mourners chanted "Glory to the heroes" before falling quiet, honoring the dead from Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II. Hundreds of thousands of troops on both sides have been killed or wounded, while Russian missile and drone strikes have left tens of thousands of Ukrainian civilians dead and cities in ruin. And tensions between Iran and the United States are escalating, with officials warning the two sides may be sliding toward military conflict over Tehran's nuclear program. Diplomats say talks have stalled on key issues including uranium enrichment and sanctions, as Washington builds up one of its largest military presences in the region since 2003. Israel also preparing for possible joint action, though no decision has been made. President Trump warning Iran to strike a deal within days or face, quote, really bad things. This as oil prices rise amid fears of a wider Middle Eastern conflict. And 4 Cuban-American members of Congress urging the Trump administration to indict former Cuban leader Raul Castro over the 1996 shoot-down of 2 Brothers to the Rescue planes that killed 4 people. The lawmakers say Fidel Castro previously admitted ordering the attack and argue Raul Castro, then Cuba's defense minister, shares responsibility. The push comes ahead of the 30th anniversary of the incident as families of the victims renew calls for justice. The White House and Justice Department have not commented, but Florida lawmakers say they will continue pressing for murder charges. Still to come in our news, today in history, find out interesting facts about the day that was February 24th. Then in our news at 7:30.
Tonight in our news, we hear from a fisherman's perspective what it's like to encounter poachers at sea. Stay tuned for more details.
And a royal arrest abroad and a big question at home. Is the Bahamas ready to cut ties with the monarchy? We'll tell you the new controversy surrounding the royals fueling a fresh national conversation when our news returns.
Every week, one show drives the national conversation. On the Record. We challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change, and inform the public like no other. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. The conversations that shape the Bahamas start here, on the Record.
Conflict doesn't have to end in chaos. Before it escalates, take a breath. Step back. Choose peace. Listen to understand. Respectful conversations lead to real solutions. I am Sergeant 3599 Johnson of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, urging you, let's talk it out, not fight it out.
From 2017, one show has set the standard for current affairs in the Bahamas. And that's On the Record, one of the longest running current affairs shows on RTV. We've been the place where newsmakers come to talk. We've sat down with leaders in government, cultural icons, industry leaders, and international experts. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, our conversation sets the tone for the nation. We've tackled the biggest issues on the planet, held world leaders accountable, and given voice to the people. From politics to culture, business to the environment, no topic is off limits. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m.
On this day in Bahamian history in 1720, Governor Woodes Rogers successfully defended New Providence during the Battle of Nassau after a larger Spanish raiding party from Cuba attacked the island. While the Spanish made off with more than 100 enslaved persons, the assault on Nassau itself was repelled and the invasion failed. Then in 1965, the Beatles came to the Bahamas to film scenes for their second movie, Help, staying at Balmoral Club, now the Sandals Royal Bahamian in Cable Beach. And in 2018, Bahamian Olympic legend Sir Durwood Knowles died at the age of 100. Knowles won Olympic bronze in 1956 and gold in 1964 with Cecil Cook, and at the time of his death was the world's oldest Olympian. To learn more about the events that shaped the day that was February 24th, head over to rnews.bs. And of course, that's where you can find all of today's top stories and share your favorites right from Our News Bahamas on Facebook. That's going to do it for us in News at 7. Up now is Jerome Sawyer. He has got the latest headlines. Jerome, I know we are out of time.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for that. Here's a look at your latest headlines.
Still to come in Our News, today in history, find out interesting facts.
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab service.
Power has reach. It stretches across communities, lighting homes, schools, and businesses. But some of that power extends far beyond the grid. And for one BPL employee, that reach is touching lives, restoring hope, and creating second chances.
How many of you have heard these statements? They have done the crime.
Candino Notes here, and thank you so much for watching. Be sure and hit that follow button if you want to see more stories like this. Be sure and follow all of the Our News social media pages. And hey, don't forget, turn on your notifications so you never miss out on top stories from the team you already trust.
When I wake up in the morning and I take a walk outside, I see the sunshine, I see a new day, and that feeling puts a smile right on my face. I know just what to do, go to the paint place. So if you wanna paint it right the first time, go to the paint place, stop at the paint place. And if you want it to last a lifetime, go to the paint place, stop at the paint place.
Somewhere's Plaza, got it going on, yeah. Somewhere's Plaza, one-stop shopping is here. The family, community, for me. Southwest Plaza, come shop with us. Shop, 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 we've got so many stores. Shop, shop, prices are right. Come spend the day, bring the family. Southwest Plaza, come shop with us.
Ahead in this half hour of news tonight, more reactions to that viral video of the high seas beating of foreign poachers.
Tonight in our news, we hear from a fisherman's perspective what it's like to encounter poachers at sea. Stay tuned for more details.
A call for calm in a Family Island community after a double fatal shooting early Monday morning. A sentence handed down to the police officer facing drug charges. Former Police Staff Association Chairman Sonny Miller will spend 6 years in jail for his crimes. And possible industrial action for the more than 3,000 members of the Bahamas Public Services Union. The president telling reporters at a protest today, too much time has passed since the Prime Minister received their latest proposal. Our news live at 7:30 is back in a moment. Welcome to our news. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jerome Sawyer in for Italia Hall. Tonight, a veteran fisherman is sounding the alarm after a brutal beatdown on the high seas went viral. The shocking video of the incident spreading across social media, the clip showing Bahamian fishermen attacking alleged poachers. But as the National Fisheries Association founding director Paul Melas tells our Joshua Williams, they are often the ones under attack.
They are literally plundering our country, and we are doing nothing about it.
Raw frustration coming from Paul Melas, a fisherman with decades of experience. A viral cell phone video allegedly shows Bahamian fishermen brutally beating what appears to be poachers in Bahamian waters. For several minutes, punches were thrown and slaps dished out as expletives were shouted. Before the clip ends, a man shouts, "Don't come back." Melas says these run-ins should be the last thing they should have to worry about when trying to feed their families.
Commercial fishermen should be worrying about the weather. They should be worrying about getting employees for their trip, getting provisions for their trips, buying equipment, buying boats, and worrying about business, not worrying about policing our ocean.
He also tells me these confrontations can get very dangerous.
We've had fishermen who've been stabbed. We've had fishermen who've had dangerous substances thrown on board. We've had fishermen who've had their boats rammed. We've had Defense Force vessels be rammed. We've had nighttime pirate-like intrusions onto vessels. I mean, it's very scary. We know they carry spear guns. We know they carry weapons. We know that they're not afraid to ram your boat, and they're not afraid to hurt people who confront them. So, yeah, of course we're scared.
And with dangers ever present on the high seas, it's important for every crew to have a security plan.
The captain should be made aware, and just try and do your best to protect yourself and ensure if there's a worst case scenario, they're coming to board you, they're coming with automatic weapons. What is your plan to actually protect yourself? So we have a firearm, and that's our main form of protection.
And while he understands the Defense Force is stretched thin, he says there are certain areas they need to focus their resources.
Key reef areas bordering our country that they can get in and get out of. So if you focus on those areas that commercial fishermen themselves target because they're so rich, then you will catch and deter a lot more poachers.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks, Josh. Great reporting there tonight. Well, the Family Island Administrator for North Eleuthera is responding to that double shooting early Monday morning. According to reports, the victim, Kristen Tumtum Francis, a waiter who was out on bail for murder, and roofing worker Michael Lancelot Reckley were standing outside Sammy's bar around 1 a.m. when a man dressed in black approached and opened fire. Reckley, a father of a young girl and an autistic boy, died at the scene while Francis was pronounced dead at the island's clinic. Now, in the aftermath of the shooting, North Eleuthera's District Administrator Gwendolyn Patram is urging residents to stay calm and work closely with law enforcement as that investigation continues.
Anytime there is a shooting, you have the negative spin to it. But the police are doing their job. They are a number of police officers on the ground making sure, residents feel safe, visitors feel safe. And, unfortunately, it's something that happened, but it's not something that is an ongoing that visitors and residents should have a real, feel concerned about.
Now, Patram admits uncommon incidents like this can cast that negative spotlight on popular tourist destinations that she spoke about. Still, she has increased in police presence and ongoing investigations should assure both residents and visitors that the violence is not an ongoing threat.
I just want to encourage the residents of Harper Island to, just stay encouraged. If they see something, say something. Harper Island is known for being the home of the friendly people. And so we want to maintain that, that residents, that tourists alike, everyone that comes there to know that, the police they are the authorities. They have everything under control. They will make everyone feel safe.
Well, former Police Staff Association Chairman Sonny Miller will spend 6 years in prison for abusing his position to assist drug traffickers. Miller helped 2 Colombian traffickers load 72 kilos of cocaine worth $1.4 million and 15 kilos of marijuana valued at $68,000 into a police jeep after their plane landed at the Spring Point Acklands Airport on June 7th back in 2022. ASP Miller, also serving as Police Staff Association chairman, was out on bail pending his trial, showed his disappointment as he shook his head when the verdict was read when he was convicted. That was last month. Now, the charges, including possession of marijuana and cocaine with the intent to supply, as well as conspiracy and importation of drugs. At the time of his arrest, the 49-year-old was in charge of police operations in Acklands, Crooked Island, and Long Key. Testimony from 2 Colombian pilots, Christian Aristizal and Christian Aragon, revealed that Miller helped them offload drugs into a police jeep. Things took a turn when a U.S. Coast Guard helicopter arrived on the scene. In a twist, Miller pulled his gun on the pilots and arrested them. Now, footage from the helicopter supported their story, showing all 3 men moving bundles from the plane to the police vehicle just before law enforcement arrived. Arizabal and Aragon pleaded guilty last year and were sentenced to 60 months in prison as part of their plea deal. Action could be looming for over 3,000 members of the Bahamas Public Services Union, according to their president, Kingsley Ferguson. Union chief telling reporters outside the office of the Prime Minister this morning that they've waited long enough to hear back from the Davis administration about an outstanding industrial agreement submitted by the union last summer. Ferguson says while there's been no formal counterproposal, he understands they are preparing a response. We reached out to the Public Services Minister, Pia Gloverol, about the issue, but she had no comment. Meantime, Ferguson insists 7 months is too long a wait. He says the union members are ready to act.
I'd like to send out a clarion call to all public servants. We would have presented our industrial agreement for public servants to the government from July the 22nd of last year. We've written the Ministry of the Public Service on at least 2 occasions since then, and we haven't gotten a response. And so I'm calling on all public servants, ready yourselves. Because I believe, and I said it before, that it is the government's intention to not address the industrial agreements before the general election.
Royal scandal igniting a fiery question. Is the Bahamas ready to become a republic? Former Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor arrested just days ago following allegations linked to the Epstein files. This fall from grace has UK lawmakers now considering stripping him from the royal line of succession. The world now casting serious doubts on the family's integrity. Here in the Bahamas, it's reopened the debate. Should we move away from the British monarchy? Back in 2022, Prime Minister Philip Davis was questioned about this, and he responded, "I cannot do it without your consent," implying the need for a referendum. However, no formal steps have been taken since. Now, across the Caribbean, countries like Belize and Jamaica have also raised the idea of republicanism, arguing that historic ties to the monarchy may no longer reflect their national identity. Closer to home, the Bahamas National Reparations Committee chairperson Nyambi Hall Campbell-Dean believes there are enough successful reasons for republics right in our own backyards.
when we look at the steps that countries like Barbados has taken and the success that they are having with that model, that's something that we should consider. Jamaica has said that the time has come for them to move away from the Commonwealth, the model that they currently purport, which is the same model that we have. And so I think that the time has come for us to as well.
From royal watchers to British citizens and critics, there's no denying this particular scandal has further weakened the hold of the once revered royal family.
There is no moral authority in these crowns or in these families that we hold in such high esteem. And so I think that we can find models within ourselves so that young Bahamian boys and girls can look up and see someone that looks like them as their head of state.
Well, it's time now for your first look at temperatures. Meteorologist Greg Thompson is standing by in the Weather Center tonight. Greg?
Yeah, thanks, Jerome, and a happy 242 Tuesday, everybody. It's been a very nice day around the islands. Temperatures managed to get up into the 70s, and we're expecting temperatures once again to be there. 64 degrees is our current temperature on the clear skies. The winds out of the north at 9 miles per hour. Feels like temperature is at 59. Satellite radar composite, frontal boundary down near the southeast Bahamas. Actually, it's across Hispaniola, just south of the Turks and Caicos and Inagua area. Still have some cloudiness associated with that boundary affecting those islands, and maybe a couple of isolated showers. But high pressure and a dry air mass continues to invade the rest of the chain of islands. Looking for some comfortable and cool temperatures tonight. Much pleasant conditions tomorrow, but we begin a warm up by Wednesday, Thursday, as temperatures expected to get near the 80-degree mark. And by Saturday, we're looking at summer-like temperatures. They should be in the mid-80s during that time. That's a quick check on conditions around the islands. Stick with us. We'll take a look at your extended forecast when we come back.
Still to come on our news tonight, domestic violence on the decline, but that doesn't mean we dim the spotlight on the problem. The Senate President says the work's just getting started. And 2 decades of helping young people of Grand Bahama, it's the subject of our weekly Grand Review with Megan Shepard. That's coming up when our news returns.
Hey, Greg Thompson here, and thank you for watching. Be sure to hit that follow button. And if you want to see more content like this, follow all of our news social media pages. And hey, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team you already trust.
Meet the voices who want your vote. Coming to the RTV lineup, Candidates Catalog, a show that throws political heavyweights and newcomers into headline-grabbing challenges. Join Megan Shepard as she dissects candidates' promises, pasts, and personas. Candidates Catalog, where strategy collides with conscience. Only on RTV.
What's good, my loyal viewers? Ronaldo Dorset of 10YS here. First of all, thanks so much for watching, but be sure to hit that follow button. If you'd like to see more content like this, follow all of the R News social media pages, and of course, don't forget to turn on your notifications so you never miss out on the top stories from the team, well, from the teams you already trust.
For more than a century, the Royal Bahamas Police Force has been the face of law and order. Established in 1840 with only 16 men, it's become one of the largest law enforcement agencies in the country, employing hundreds of police officers. They've not only fought crime, but also built safer communities. And this March, in honor of Police Month, join me, Jasmine Brown, every week as we introduce you to the brave men and women who risk their lives every day to keep us safe.
It only takes a second for things to go wrong. Are you prepared? Don't become a statistic.
Well, our TV viewers set to experience a brand new TV offering starting tonight as we roll out a new addition to our current affairs lineup, right in time for the elections. The Candidate Catalog, hosted by our news anchor Megan Shepherd, empowers the people or voters as the hiring manager with what you need to make the most informed decisions at the polls. Each episode is a one-on-one with the men and women asking for your vote. And the goal is a clear conversation that helps you understand who they are, what they stand for, and how they plan to serve. The show airs weekly at 8 p.m. starting tonight across the RTV network. Well, domestic violence cases may be on the decline, but the work is far from over. Senate President Lachelle Adderley again drawing attention to the issue while speaking on the sidelines of a book reading at the Bahamas Academy Secondary School today. Recent crime stats show a 29% decline in reported cases. Deadly weapon assaults, threats of harm, and threats of death also dipped by nearly 50%. Senate President says the declining numbers are evidence that both government and non-government efforts are working.
We have the newly formed Domestic Violence Unit, which is a one-stop shop where persons can come and get all of the necessary services. So that was established, and so I would like to thank that, as well as the Crisis Center and other partners. We also have the gender-based violence legislation, that protection against violence, that was also enacted. So I would like to think that all of those, there's also been greater awareness and education with respect to gender-based violence.
Well, this year has been a banner year. However, there are questions about whether the declines are due to less reporting. While Adderley acknowledges this possibility, she makes this appeal.
I would never encourage a person to stay in a situation, but they must be able to leave safely. I know that the government is also planning on building a safe house. I would like to encourage the government to continue in that vein, and to also encourage many other NGOs to do likewise, the churches, etc., to build more safe houses so that these women and men at times can live in a safe manner and continue to lead productive lives.
This year, Reach Out Youth Organization marks 20 years of making an impact on the lives of young men and families across Grand Bahama. What started off as a simple basketball game in the inner city grew into an organization that meets the needs of the whole family. Our news anchor, Megan Shepherd, has more in tonight's Grand Review.
At a time when climbing murder rates were plaguing the country, founder and president of Reach Out Youth Organization, Dudley Sade, a survivor of a shooting himself, knew that to solve the issue, you had to go where the issue was. He organized a basketball program in the Garden Villas area, attracting some 350 young men. And within a month, that number grew to 700. And then the young men began sharing more with Sade.
Some of the young men were saying, "Hey, coach, I don't have no lunch money. Hey, coach, I have no uniform." And I said, "What? I really didn't come there for that."
But Sade continued his work with the young men, developing a number of programs to meet their needs year-round.
We started a prison program where I took about 25 young men every year to visit Her Majesty's prison. Then we started a back-to-school giveaway, Christmas giveaway. So we start like every morning feeding about 30 to 40 young kids before school, hot lunch. We have the after-school program where we do tutoring for young kids in the inner city area to come here and do their homework. Through our Boys and Men Conference only, every year we have about 700 young men come to that conference. So we impact a lot of lives. And my organization is not only here, we go from East End to West End. We continue to help the wider community of Grand Bahama.
And Sade doesn't only cater to young men. Following Hurricane Dorian, he expanded his efforts, now assisting the entire island.
We fed about 20,000 families during that time. Then the pandemic, everybody was afraid. We started Pop Your Back Trunk. We put grocery packages in the vehicle. So the organization started first just from a boys program, and now we just launched a girls program. It's called In Touch last year. So it is a program that will deal with the whole family, young men, now young ladies, and now families.
Said assists between 70 to 80 families with grocery packages on a weekly basis, and all without the red tape, he says, making it easier for families in need. But of course, it isn't easy. Said says it takes almost $200 to $1,000 a year to keep the organization going.
Difficult, but I just hope that somebody out there, whether it's the government or someone out there with a generous heart to see, hey, Dudley and Reach Out Youth Organization been consistent, and they give us a grant. If we could start the year off, I think, with a $50,000 or $60,000 grant, then I think the rest will be easy. The hardest thing to me is when I can't help, and that's so difficult when you see mothers coming to you and say, hey, Dudley, I have nothing to eat. You know, it's heart-wrenching when we cannot help. Continue to ask for help. I write letters, but I think after 20 years, I think the government should look at, hey, if I'm gonna give the Red Cross a grant, if I'm gonna give Salvation Army a grant, Reach Out Youth Organization should be a part of this grant funding for us to continue our work.
And as of now, Said says he does receive a grant of $11,000 per year from the government. And despite the daily pressures, Said says it's truly a ministry of love.
Myself, the in-between, the pastors, the politician and the police. People are comfortable coming to our organization when they need help. But it is a wonderful, I wouldn't call it a job, I call it a ministry that...
Reporting for Our News, I'm Megan Shepard.
Coming up in sports, 7 days and about 100 games later, we have our 2026 Hugh Campbell champion, and it's the most familiar of names. On the pro track circuit, athletes may be peaking at the right time ahead of World Indoors. Then we wrap up the night with the latest from college hoops.
It only takes a second for things to go wrong. Are you prepared? Don't become a statistic. Follow these simple rules. Leave early, obey road signs, wear seatbelts, invest in hands-free devices, and don't drink and drive. I'm Inspector Gerard Cum of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, reminding you that road safety is no accident.
It's more than a podcast. It's a movement. This is Breaking the Silence with Junior Clovis, where conversations we avoid finally have a place to breathe. Every story, every struggle, every breakthrough is brought to light, unfiltered and unspoken until now. Join us this Sunday at 2 p.m. as we confront the topics that matter, share real experiences, and change the conversation around mental health together. Watch, listen, break the silence.
In what we do at Best Brew, it really doesn't end when the customer purchases our product. We offer specialty coffee, tea, spices, and brewing equipment. We do a lot of our orders via website. We actually have the mobile service and the phone service and the internet. So having Business in a Box really kind of brought everything together for us and helps us to be able to provide the customer services that we pride ourselves on.
Every week, one show drives the national conversation. On the Record. We challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change, and inform the public like no other. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. The conversations that shape the Bahamas start here, on the Record.
Welcome to Our Sports, presented by 10th Year Seniors. I'm Ronaldo Dorset. Let's do show. We got pretty much everything we wanted out of this. Blue blood programs, two of the most decorated coaches in the country, everyone chasing history, a great story, and on the broadcast, Amo even had the 90s video game graphic head and in and out of the break. Hugh Campbell was amazing this year. One of those amazing storylines, grief turned into greatness Monday night at the Kendall Isaacs Gym when Mario Roll delivered one of the most emotional and dominant performances in recent Hugh Campbell history. Just days after losing his father, the C.I. Gibson Rattlers star forward stepped onto the floor and played the game of his life. 24 points and 18 rebounds to lead his team to a 75-53 win over the St. George's Jaguars as the school claimed the 2026 Hugh Campbell title. Roll started the game 0 for 5 from the field, but shot 12 for 15 the rest of the way while controlling both ends of the floor on the glass. Darius Hannah scored 20 points and had some timely three-point shooting from deep, while Sidney Higgs scored 14 of his 18 points in the second half. Makai Nesbitt led the Jaguars with 15 points and 9 rebounds, and Shanto Curry Jr. scored 13. St. George's led by as much as 9 in the first before Hannah banked in a 3 at the buzzer. The Jaguars clung to a 1-point lead at the half, but from there it was all Rattlers. C.I. Gibson outscored St. George's 41-18 in the second half to clinch the title. For C.I. Gibson head coach Kevin Johnson, he became the winningest coach in tournament history with his 7th title, and as a program, the Rattlers now rank second behind the Tabernacle Falcons, who topped the list with 9 titles. Do you have a countdown yet to the World Indoor Champs? You probably should, it's kinda important. The athletes do. It's about a month away and it's time to get going. And they are. World record holder Devin Charlton clocked a world-leading 7.77 seconds to win the 60-meter hurdles at the Orlin Copernicus Cup in Poland. Meanwhile, Antonique Strawn finished 3rd in the 60 in Jamaica at the S.W. Isaac Henry Invitational in 7.39 seconds. And over in the United States, Kendrick Thompson was 3rd in the USATF Indoor Combined Events Championships in the heptathlon with 5,963 points. Always a special moment when Bahamian hoopers face off on the big stage. This one was the highest level of college hoops. We head to the American Athletic Conference for this one. Roma Dean's Tulsa Golden Hurricanes defeated Brent Moss and the UTSA Roadrunners 174 and set a record number of threes to do it. Dean didn't have any, but he scored 11 points and grabbed 6 rebounds, while Moss had 8 points, 3 assists, and a pair of threes. That'll do it for our sports. This is 10YS, and a happy 242 Day to those who celebrate and to those who definitely know the difference between countries that begin with B. Because we're all different and we're all important. But everyone knows that, right?
And still to come, another night to get out your blankets as cooler temperatures persist. Greg is back with your extended weather forecast.
Comfort Suites Paradise Island is the best kept.
Every week, one show drives the national conversation. On the Record. We challenge the issues, ask the tough questions, and dig deeper. We bring in the experts, the decision makers, and the voices that matter. Our discussions shape policy, influence change, and inform the public like no other. Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. and again on Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Catch us streaming live on Facebook or catch up with your favorite episodes on our YouTube channel. The conversations that shape the Bahamas start here, on the Record.
Conflict doesn't have to end in chaos. Before it escalates, take a breath. Step back. Choose peace. Listen to understand. Respectful conversations lead to real solutions. I am Sergeant 3599 Johnson of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, urging you, let's talk it out, not fight it out.
From 2017, one show has set the standard for current affairs in the Bahamas, and that's On the Record, one of the longest running current affairs shows on RTV. We've been the place where newsmakers come to talk. We've sat down with leaders in government, cultural icons, industry leaders, and international experts. From breaking news to in-depth analysis, our conversation sets the tone for the nation. We've tackled the biggest issues on the planet, held world leaders accountable, and given voice to the people. From politics.
This is our news. Welcome back and a happy 242 day, everybody. Beautiful conditions around the islands as that high pressure system builds across the area. Frontal boundary now down near the Hispaniola area. Still have some cloudiness associated with that boundary affecting the Turks and Caicos Islands as well as the Inagua area. Most of that activity will continue to pull towards the east and away from us. High pressure and a dry air mass continues to invade the rest of the chain of islands, looking for some rather pleasant conditions over the next couple of days. But we do expect our conditions to start warming up, maybe getting up near the 80-degree mark by the end of the week, and we will soar into the 80s by the weekend. Frontal boundary should be moving into our area by the weekend as well. Thursday, late Friday into Saturday could bring us a spotty shower or two, but all in all should be very comfortable and pleasant conditions throughout the remainder of the week. Future forecast showing just quiet conditions across the area. Most of the activity, as I said, staying down near the Hispaniola. Some of that moisture looks likely to lift back towards the north into Thursday. Could possibly affect the southeast Bahamas and portions of the central Bahamas. But once again, we do expect another front to get in here by the weekend. Boating forecast for the northwest Bahamas tonight to tomorrow. Small craft use caution on the Atlantic side. Moderate risk of rip currents out there. East to southeasterly wind at 10 to 15 knots. Seas running 2 to 4 feet near shore, building up to 7 feet offshore, and especially in the Atlantic waters in northerly swells. Low tide was at 7:10 tonight. The high tide takes place at 1:48 in the morning. Central and southeast Bahamas, caution flag down there as well. Risk of rip currents still exists. Northeast to east winds at 15 to 20 knots. Seas running 4 to 6 feet near shore, building up to 8 feet in Atlantic waters in northeasterly swells. Here's a look now at your national forecast. In the extended forecast, beautiful conditions for the remainder of the week. That frontal boundary expected by Friday into Saturday, bumping our shower chances up. Temperatures will start climbing near the 80-degree mark. Not much change expected behind this front, but those daytime high temperatures will get into the low to mid-80s. Overnight low temperatures will warm back up into the low 70s. That's a look at our weather. Have a great and safe night, everybody.
Thanks a lot, Greg, and thank you for joining us on behalf of the entire Our News team here tonight. Thank you so much for looking in. I'm Jerome Sawyer. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night, but stay tuned for the premiere of the Candidate Catalog. Megan Shepard.
Hello, I'm Jerome Sawyer, and thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Now, if you want to continue to receive this great content, be sure and hit that button right over there. And don't forget to turn on your notifications. That way, you continue to